What's up, everybody? And we are live again. It's been a long fucking time, probably a month almost. And
Something like that.
yeah, welcome back, Tino. We got Tino here from the Sophisticated Man. How's life been treating you, man?
Life's been good, man. It's been good. I was just telling you, I was traveling a lot this past month. So we're trying to get back into the swing of things, get back into the grind of the business and content. So a little bit of an adjustment, but we're making it happen.
Well, rock on. I know that's whenever you kind of take a break to recharge, so you can just kind of like go back. It's hard to get back. You got to ease your way back into working, I should say, or grinding again, because you're, with all that relaxation.
Yeah, it's a bit of an adjustment, and that's something I try to do even away. I would just like still try to be consistent with posting and trying to reach out to some people just minimally. But yeah, it's definitely an adjustment to get back into like full force and getting everything out of after it.
Right. No, I hear you. Yeah, that's what I kind of did a few videos here and there when I was away, just to kind of get back and, just so I can kind of do some stuff while I was away, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So, yeah, today's what we want to talk about, like dealing with rejection in the dating world, because like a lot of guys face that, and a lot of guys get frustrated out there. I mean, I was actually out with some friends last night for a meetup thing, and like some people were talking about like how this one guy was frustrated how like he hit it off with this one woman and everything, and he got a number. Yet when he, I guess I tried to reach out to her, she flaked on him and everything, and he's like wondering like what the why was that, and then it just went into this whole negativity conversation. You went into this whole negative conversation about women and everything, yeah, but you got to have such high standards, they're saying, I guess you got to have high standards these days in order to get, you got to have like a 6-pack abs. You got to have lots of money to get women these days. So that's what his excuse was. He's like, I bet I wouldn't have gotten rejected if I had that.
Yeah, guys will use any excuse to cope with the fact that they just don't know how to deal with rejection, or they don't know how to talk to women properly. I mean, literally, like I just had this conversation, so it's funny that your friend said that. As I've seen a lot of guys who maybe had a lot of money, more money than I have, or more, they're maybe like more physically in shape than me, and they fumble the bag when it comes to talking to women, or they just don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to be social. They don't know how to network. It's a whole different skill set, and I think if you just solely rely on your looks and your money and your status or whatever, then yeah, you might get some leads that might get your foot in the door. But if you don't know how to talk and communicate, and you don't know how to lead, you don't know how to also what's the word I'm looking for? Escalate. If you don't know how to do any of those, then your looks and everything can only get you so far.
Right. Well, why do you think like guys like, because it's a common thing I hear, why they believe, well, it was because of they didn't have money. Why did they come up with that excuse that they didn't have money, or they weren't a Chad, as what they call them, Chads? I actually I met with a girl online yesterday, and she used the word Chad. It was the first time. It was the first time, like, because one of her questions, it said, can you tell which one of my facts about me was a lie in my profile, and I'm going to be the one where you made out with a rock star? And she's like, well, you're saying I'm not that good looking enough to make out with a Chad?
I never heard a girl use the term Chad, so that's funny.
Yeah, I know. I didn't mention anything about how that's commonly used in the dating content creation. Chad, Tyrone, Beefcake, whatever the fuck.
There's 100 of them.
No, it's funny, but I know. So why do you like? Because I mean, I constantly hear this shit like all the time, and like and I had that belief too, where you'd be like, okay, well, I got rejected because of X, Y, and Z. But you think it's just like it's because they're looking externally and not within, or not learning from their mistakes? Is that where you think that's coming from? Because that's where I think, I don't know, like, what's your perspective on that? I'll give you my 10 cents.
I mean, I think it's partly that, but mostly I think it's just seeking comfort. So like if you say if you say those things, oh, it's because my height, it's because my money, it's because my looks, whatever, then it's an easy, comfortable way to deal with rejection. And it's not, you're not actually facing the burden of responsibility of working on yourself. Maybe you said something weird, or your approach was funny, or the way that you maintain eye contact was off, or maybe the way that you led was a little, there's something that was wrong. You weren't as congruent as you wanted to be. So I think by saying, oh, well, it's just my looks, or it's just my height, it's just, whatever, it's an easy cop out to say, oh, well, that's why. It's not nothing
Mhm.
I can control. It's something that is outside of myself. And that's like,
Mhm.
you kind of, you're lessening the responsibility on what you can do, I think.
Right, exactly, and it's just like another excuse too, like
Yeah.
to in you instead they blame this and that, but it's just another excuse, like because you could go in there. It's even sometimes you can have the best approach and it doesn't
Yeah.
go well because,
Hmm.
but it's like you said, it's just an excuse that you come up with, and I think yeah, kind of like a safety mechanism to not have to look within, and also to like
Yeah.
kind of keep you stuck in your comfort zone and get you more fucking frustrated all the time.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a coping mechanism, and I think guys do it just because they don't want to face the reality of like, oh, I actually did something wrong. It's very easy to blame something that you can't necessarily control right now, like your height. You can't do anything about your height. There's really nothing you can do about, maybe your face isn't symmetrical like you want it to be, or like you can't do much about that. So to blame something trivial or very surface level like that, it's an easy way to be like, oh, well, I don't have to fix anything. It's just because of this. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's comfort. It's seeking comfort.
Hmm. Right, when really you should be like when you're going out there, you should be learning from your interactions, from what it is you're doing,
Hmm.
and taking a step back and seeing the situation in a different manner rather than a negative manner. I kind of
Hmm.
look at every opportunity, even though it doesn't go well, as a step that's going to get me to where I want to go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sure, it can
Yeah.
get a little frustrating, but it's also like I think it's like kind of you're going out there and you're kind of rehearsing and you're going out there taking action. So that's going
Hmm.
to help you grow. And plus, if you realize you didn't make a mistake, you can take in a different approach from the situation rather than like looking at rejection as like something that is bad and everything. And I mean, and that just you got to look at it more as go with the flow type of thing. You don't take it personally. Like it's all about how your mindset too, how you interpret the situation as well.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, if you go into an interaction and it doesn't go well, or maybe the girl doesn't like you, you don't like her, there's no vibe, and you can carry this mindset towards anything, business, networking, whatever. Even if things don't go your way, do you still come out of that interaction excited, happy, proud of yourself, enthusiastic, or do you hold your head down and say, oh, well, I'm a loser, this sucks, I shouldn't try, let me just not do anything anymore? Like, if you can actually face rejection head on, take it on the chin, and afterwards you're still excited for more, dude, like there's nothing that can stop you. So like it's only a matter of like, is your mindset gonna hold you back, or is it gonna push you forward?
Hmm. Yeah, and it's just developing that good habit of having it. Look, kind of changing your mindset a bit. Because a lot of guys
Hmm.
I think don't do that.
Yeah.
They look at rejection as something bad, and I think it's something I guess growing up though, like they just kind of like that's just how they were conditioned and stuff, and just
Hmm.
looking if you can't achieve this or it's because of X, Y, and Z, and
Hmm.
I think that like again it keeps them from failing to like look within themselves
Yeah.
for to find the solution, or like to go seek out mentorship to kind of be the look for someone who's been there so like they can get that guidance.
Hmm. Well, to your point earlier, it's easier to complain than to actually do something about it, or to take
Hmm.
accountability and say, hey, this is what I got to fix. Maybe I do need outside help. Maybe I do need a friend or a mentor or a coach. Maybe I do need some guidance. It's easy to complain and say, oh, well, screw it, I'm just not good, or this is just because I'm not 6'4", I'm not a millionaire yet. It's easy to say that, but it takes work to actually like look at yourself, look at the things that you want to improve, and actually do the work it takes to improve it.
Hmm.
So I think it's all about how you interpret what happens to you, and and also viewing the world not so much it's working against you, but everything's kind of working for you. Yeah, it didn't go great with that girl. Maybe you lost a sale. Maybe you didn't make the amount of money you wanted to this month, but now you have information, you have data. What can I use from that experience to actually get me closer to those goals that I have? So,
Hmm.
kind of viewing it from a an optimistic point of view.
Right. So you think like a lot of guys are just like, I like how you mentioned like lazy. Like you think that, a lot of guys are lazy and that's why they kind of just take the easy way out. Because
Oh
I,
my
I, can,
god.
I can get that
Yeah.
way sometimes too, and I have to be mindful of that, and be
Mhm.
like, well, hey, things aren't going right, the way I want them to go. It's because I'm not taking the necessary action. Or I'm still doing the same mistakes.
Mhm.
I'm lazy. I'm got to go out there and try new things, and like I said, so I think. So yeah, I think just a lot like you're saying, like a lot of guys just get like lazy and content that they just don't feel like a
Mhm.
needy, or it could be like arrogance too. They just don't
Sure.
feel the need to like want to change, and that's fine. But I mean, you got to have like some, you know, you gotta have some aha moment in your life where you're actually going to want to go out there and make the change for yourself. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to make stuff happen in your life, and you're just going to have a negative outlook at the world and everything. Because you're
Mhm.
sticking with the same thoughts and beliefs and stuff, and you're gonna, and when you do that, you're gonna every time you get rejected, you're going to take it personally. You're going to blame the other person. You're going to say like, "Oh, women are bad," or because I didn't have this, or you're going to find some things about that person or yourself that are going to, just you're going to blame instead of rather working on yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I have a belief that human beings are our natural tendency is to be lazy, and our natural tendency is to take the road with least resistance. I mean, nobody looks at something and they're like, "Yeah, let me do the hardest thing possible all the time." I mean, you have to condition yourself to do that because it doesn't come natural, I think,
Mm-hmm.
for most people.
Right.
So I think the default is like, all right, I'm just gonna not work on myself. I'm not gonna change these habits, these patterns, these beliefs because it's too uncomfortable to do so. But that's what's gonna give you the most results. So I think that the laziness, like that's I could be very lazy. I'm very if I let myself, I can just sit there, not do anything, and just like eat a bunch of food and not be productive and let myself really just like be a lazy fuck and just sit there. But I hate myself when I do it. So I know I can't allow myself to get to that point, even though
Mm-hmm.
like I have the ability to. And I think that's most people's like natural state is to just not want to do much. But you got to
Mm-hmm.
have systems in place. That's why I think you got to have like a schedule. You're taking action. You're setting time blocks of time where I'm going to do this at this time. I'm doing this at this time. This is the gym time. This is my work time. And just, you're setting a schedule for yourself because if you don't, your time is kind of all over the place.
Right, exactly. No, but I like what you just said. Especially if you go out there and you take action, like you're going to be more confident in yourself. Like I
Hmm.
find just by taking action alone is more important than having the result. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
a lot of guys you are result oriented. And yeah, I was like that too. And sometimes I get like that, but I have to, like, again, it's a mindful thing. Just kind of you
Hmm.
got to realize the fact that at least you're going out there and doing something rather than not doing
Yeah.
anything at all.
Mhm,
And when you do that, you actually feel more confident in yourself. You're going out there, you're learning and you're gaining those experiences rather than just sitting
mhm,
around and just blaming like the world for your troubles and you're not having success.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing that, you're kind of on the hamster wheel. You're just sitting there spinning these excuses and these reasons of why it's not working, just to make yourself feel better in the moment, but you're not really getting anywhere with that.
Hmm. Right, exactly. When really, but like I said, it's all about this kind of taking the action, learning from the the experience. I said experiment, but experience, and then
Mm,
just trying to refine that to make it things better. And like even being and this is how you grow, as your strength and your confidence is that even when things don't go well, you learn from stuff and you just be persistent and go at it. And
mhm,
the more you'll find, the more you go out there and take action and you learn from your mistakes, and the more reference experiences that you get, like you're going to be more successful. And you just got to learn to, you got to realize, hey, you know what, you're not experienced yet, and so yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna fuck up. You can't
Mhm.
take it personally. But I think a lot
Mhm.
of people want that instant. We always we talked about this a lot, but the instant gratification.
Yeah.
They want that success. They want that, they just go make it happen, and they think if it doesn't happen, well, that and they weren't meant to have success with women in business and shit like that. They don't realize it
Mhm.
takes time to actually go out there and form good habits, learn, and and just kind of become confident and kind of get the results that you want.
Mhm. Well, I want to piggyback off of what you said a minute
Okay.
ago, and even though what you said was not what you're actually trying to say, but I like that word that you used, experiment, because it really is an experiment when you think about it. Like you're going out and you're just
Mhm. Oh,
testing
okay.
out a
Yeah.
certain approach or a certain mindset or a certain routine or pattern of behavior. Just experiment. If you go into it with that mentality of like I'm just trying this thing out, I'm just testing it, then you don't really have that expectation of it needs to be perfect or it needs to be XYZ result because you're not focusing on perfection. You're just focusing on the progress.
Hmm. No, yeah, that's really good. Yeah, and it's good to experiment because then you're going to see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Exactly. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and
Hmm.
when you and it's going to take a lot of trial and error just to figure that out. But when you go out
Hmm.
there and you just are experimenting with things, you're going to stumble upon something that's going to work for you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna look different for everybody too, and that's why I think like some mainstream dating advice or just general advice that you watch online, it's helpful. Some of it can be good, but I think some guys look at that and they think that's exactly how it's going to be for me. And sometimes it's not always copy and paste like that. It's going to be different. You're going to find like there's a certain thing that you say that somebody else says. It works more for you or it works more for them. Or
Hmm.
like you're going to do something that might not necessarily work for somebody else, but for you, you're good at it. So you have to also kind of take everything with a grain of salt and just get your own reference experience. Like actually put yourself out there to test that because that's going to give you the best feedback is not so much, oh, I got to do exactly what this guy did. It might not always work out that way.
Hmm. Right. No, that's true. And then another thing I want to, another thing that's very helpful with dealing with rejection is not to take it too seriously. Like I think a lot of people take it too seriously.
Hmm.
Uh, they like look at it as something bad, but you just gotta. I think my best approach I've learned about things over the past couple of years is just kind of let things happen as they are in the moment.
Hmm.
Yeah, things get frustrating, but I mean, when you have that approach and don't take it too seriously, you're not going to dwell upon it too much.
Yeah.
And you also got to build you also got to, look at how you value yourself. I mean, I think a lot of people, don't handle rejection wrong because they don't value themselves too highly. They look at
Hmm.
themselves as a low value person, and they fail to realize that they are actually really cool people, person, but
Hmm.
they don't. But when you have that understanding of who you are and what makes you great, and you go in there with that I don't give a fuck attitude, I think, and
Yeah.
that's you're gonna go out there and kick ass, and
Hmm.
you're not gonna let setbacks like affect you.
Hmm. I agree 100%. I think your image of yourself is going to determine how well you deal with the results or lack thereof that you get in your life. Like, so I actually have a story about this. So
Okay.
I recently was on a date a couple months ago with some girl and we matched on a dating app. We ended up going out, getting a quick drink, and whole time the date was great. We were talking, we're being pretty flirty. She was touching me. I was being a little physical with her as well. And I'm thinking, okay, date's going really well. Like we're gonna hang out, maybe hang out for a second date. I could tell that she was interested. So we leave the date and she ended up getting an Uber. I offered to ride her home. She said no. I said, all right, cool, whatever. She took an Uber home and I messaged her probably the next few days. It might have been 2 days later.
Mm-hmm.
Said, hey, I had a great time with you. I'd love to hang out again. And she said yes initially, but then I tried to text her back. Come to find out, she blocked me on everything. She blocked me on her phone. He blocked me on her Snapchat, and I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, why did she just do that? And I have no to this day, I don't know why. I mean, it could have been something I said very, very quickly and she didn't like that, or maybe she ended up talking to an ex again, or she ended up matching another guy. I don't know exactly,
Mhm.
but I think that tells you everything about somebody's character if they straight up just she didn't even tell me that she wasn't interested. She just blocked me. And I thought in the moment we had a great time.
Right.
So it kind of like goes to show you that if that happens, you got to have the self-esteem to say, you know what? I probably dodged a bullet because I don't want to deal with a girl like that. That just seems pretty crazy.
Right. No, no, you're right. Because some people will just like, yeah, I know it's like lately, it's girls are not interested. They'll just they like want to. They'll just ask to be a friend and everything, you know.
Yeah.
Um. So, but see, that shows you great character right there. You know, I just say straight up, I'm not looking for a friendship. I don't have time for
Yeah.
that because I know what I
Yeah.
want. And I said, I didn't. I tell them what I want, and they're down. I said, just hit me up if you change your mind. You know, it's goodbye. You know.
That's it.
You know, because I've gotten a few of those lately too. Like, you know, where, you know, I went out, I actually had like 2 dates with someone, and then like, you know, it's just weird. All of a sudden, you know, just gonna make a plan to do something. And she's like, yeah, I could do that, but you know, I just want to, you know, I'm looking for something platonic. I'm like, I'm not fucking looking for that. You know, I just said, okay.
Platonic.
I just said, well, you know, I don't know if I can be platonic because I'm gonna try and get in your pants, you know, and just joking. You know, I
Yeah.
didn't take it seriously. You know,
Hmm.
um, but you know, yeah, you just got to accept the situation for what it is. Like, I mean, shit like
Hmm.
that gets frustrating sometimes. I know how that is because you're like, God, is it something I said or something you did? But you know what? You
Hmm.
just, you know, I thought about it after the situation. I just thought I was just grateful for everything that I have going on in my life. Why am I going to let this situation with that person like affect the way I'm feeling right now? You
Hmm.
know, and you know, and you guys got to say it's, you know, hey, it's their loss. I remember one time I had some when I invited some lady out and she had to cancel because she's like, I'm depressed. That was the weirdest like one I got. Um,
She was depressed, like she was on
yeah,
meds, or
I don't know. She just says I'm too depressed. That like, can I reschedule another time? I'm too depressed, and I'm like, oh, that was just kind of awkward.
all right.
Um, but no, it's just it's, you know, some of these situations like you when you go out there, yeah, you're going to have those experiences where you like go out and you're like, you thought everything went well with that person, and then all of a sudden it's just like it's weird how
Hmm.
that works, you know.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
I and I think a lot of it too could, you know, just it could, you got to look at it in many different ways besides just looking at, you know, I think a lot of it too can, like you're saying, yeah, with if it's especially if someone you met online, because I know how much many matches girls get online. So
Hmm. Hmm.
and then they could just match with someone else, or maybe
Yeah.
they didn't have you know, the character, you know, or maybe there's something you said, or you know, they just weren't digging you. But I mean, that's, you just can't let situations like that affect you. Yeah, it gets frustrating, but you just move on and realize you just keep on pushing, man. Like
Hmm.
most people get frustrated about, like I know some people who get frustrated because of the way they get treated by women on these apps, and like, I mean, well, it's just part of the way it is, and guys do the same things too. I mean, so
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, you just gotta take it for what it is, like you said, and just learn to just be okay with rejection. Learn to just be like, all right, whatever. Because it truly is a numbers game. I mean, as much as you have good banter, you have confidence, and you know how to like carry a conversation, it's still a numbers game. Like you're gonna meet people that you don't connect with. You're gonna meet people that you kind of connect with, but there's not much there. And you're gonna meet people that are really, really vibing with you, and they connect immediately. So it's just like you just got to weed out the people that you don't and spend more time with the people that you do.
so by really, really, really vibing, are those the girls that want to get close to you? Is that what you mean by that?
I mean, there's a lot of
That's
there's a
what I'm
lot of
thinking.
ways. Yeah, that like close and just generally like there's a lot of mutual like values that you guys have. There's a lot of mentality, there's a lot of stimulation, there's a lot of like, you guys have things in common. There's things that she's into that you're into. Just a lot of values that are overlapping. And yeah, it just depends on how the interaction's going. Is it easy? Or are you like forcing a conversation to happen? Because that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, that's true. I hate forcing the conversation. No,
Yeah.
you know, yesterday, so I was out at the bar. I wasn't even like, I only had like one drink. My friend dared me to go talk to this one girl who's sitting by herself. And, you know, I just went in there. I did it. I just
Mhm.
didn't, I went in there with I don't give a fuck attitude, you know. And so first thing she says, I got a boyfriend. I'll be like, well, I'll chat with you for a bit, then I'll be on my fucking merry way. And I actually had a short interaction with, and then her friend walked in. I got you know, met her friend and stuff. But you
Mhm.
know, but you know, and even you know, whether that's true or not, if she, you know,
Yeah.
got a boyfriend, like, you know, hey, you're just going out there and having fun, man. You know,
Yeah.
that's how you got to look at it, man. Because that's like when you
Mhm.
just don't take it too seriously and go out and have fun about this shit. I think that's when you shine the most. And if you continue to do
Mhm.
that and you're putting yourself out there in front of other people, the more you do that, the more chances the more of you're going to have a higher success rate, rather than and see that's another thing. If you let rejection hold you back, you're afraid to put yourself out there. Then yeah, you're gonna lower your success rate. But if you don't give a fuck and just be in the fucking moment and don't take it too seriously, like it's gonna be they'll eventually meet people you have a connection with, like close connections, like you were saying.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, it's literally the law of averages. Like, if you do it enough times and you just don't care how the interaction goes, eventually you're gonna find somebody that you do connect with. And I think this is why it's so important for men to like be on your purpose, is to have things that you got going on, because as you do that, you're naturally going to, and you're living a life that is enjoyable, you're naturally going to find people that vibe and that are resonating with your lifestyle. So if you're going out with like nothing as a foundation and you have nothing going on, well, it's going to be a lot harder for you because you have no base of relatability, because like you can't bring a girl into your lifestyle if you don't even have a lifestyle to live. So that's,
Right,
that's the
exactly.
biggest thing.
But see, and that's what I'm grateful for. Like you know, I know I have shit going on in my life. So I have to I remind myself of that when I'm dealing with, when I go through situations, when I have frustrations with women and other shit in my life, that I remind myself that I got stuff going on. And you know, I've had this, you know, this happened before, you know, I think things come and go in cycles, you know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
you know, but yeah, you're right though. You want to go out there and have shit going on, just like things you can be grateful for and stuff you created for yourself.
Yep.
It's like you're gonna realize when you go out there and make that shit happen. You're actually gonna believe you're gonna have more. You're gonna believe that you're more of a valuable person because you're having a more productive life and shit. And also, you know, you also gotta have you know, one of the things I've been really trying to practice more on is just being mindful of a lot of shit, because I think like I'm not mindful enough, and so that's one of my
Hmm.
biggest flaws. And I'm just trying to be more mindful of like you know, my life, and be grateful for shit I have. And
Hmm.
I believe like I think when you can have that mindfulness and realize that you actually have shit going on for you, like you're gonna feel like you're valuable, and you got to, and then I mean, you got to think about too. Other people have it worse than you. Some people don't even talk to girls.
Hmm.
You gotta give yourself a kick in the ass for making it happen. A pat on the back, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, you really do have to think about it like that, because some people, like you said, they don't take action. They don't, they don't try to create the life of their dreams. Some people don't have the ability to, people that are like physically disabled or mentally disabled, or people that are even people that, passed away at a young age. They'll never have that opportunity again. So just kind of thinking about it from that perspective, like you're still alive, you still have breath in your lungs, you still have a dream, you still have a vision, like you can make it happen. So it's just
Right.
kind of being grateful for that.
Shoot, you know, and I've even seen stories of people who have had disabilities and stuff,
They
or
still
and
made
they're
it.
grateful for,
Yeah.
and they're very positive, energetic, outgoing people, because
Right.
they learn to
Hmm.
master the art of not giving a fuck
Yeah.
and just living life. Living life in the moment, and accepting the situation for where it is. You know, where it is. You know, I find
Hmm.
that the older I get, I just had a birthday not too long ago. I find like the older I get, the more like I just don't give a fuck anymore, and
Yeah.
the more I want to go out there and be more assertive in my life, because like if I don't do it now, I might regret it later on. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
100%. Yeah, the less you care about other people's opinions and the more you care about your own and like what you're trying to do and achieve, that's like the key to life, man, is just caring more about your own opinions than the judgment of other people, especially ones that you don't even know.
Right, exactly. I know, like, I think what we got to do is just to like liberate your mind from all the shit that you've been
For sure.
taught. You know,
For sure.
uh, like I said, I like for 35 years, let's say ever since I've probably been going to school and was interested in girls, like I've been, like I had a low mindset, but even when you go out there and you're starting to work on yourself, like the fact that you
Mhm.
had a certain way of thinking for a long time, you have certain things that trigger your experience, those old negative experiences, and that
Yep.
always sucks. So you got to be mindful of that.
Mhm. Yeah, if you can, that's something I'm actually going through right now is like learning my past triggers, traumas, and just being present with that stuff. And I think
Mhm.
meditation is like a huge game changer to really getting that stuff kind of sorted out because most guys can't even sit there and just be present with some of their like negative emotions or negative mindsets that have influenced them from their past. If you don't deal with that stuff, that's going to show up in your relationships. That's going to show up in, business. It's going to show up in your lifestyle. So that is a major thing that you need to get handled before you really set that stuff up for yourself.
Mhm. Right. No, that's true. Like it's funny you said that too, because this kind of relates to mindfulness and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Definitely.
really like that. No, and I got a mentor that I talk with once a month. Like he's my business mentor, but we always talk
Hmm.
about mindfulness and stuff like that. We had a big conversation about that like earlier in the like about 2 weeks ago, and
Hmm.
because I said I want to talk about mindfulness because I realized that probably some of my roadblocks right now is me not being mindful, and I
Mm.
know if I can like go over, be more mindful, I can overcome those roadblocks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's a tough thing with all the stimulus going on in the outside world and within yourself.
Hmm. 100%, man. I mean, that's where everything stems. Like if you can master your internal world, then everything external kind of falls into place. So
Hmm.
being mindful, like taking time to yourself and being alone and meditating around this stuff, it literally is work that it's not sexy to do, it's not popular, it's not going to be the stuff that trends on Instagram and stuff, but it's necessary, I think, for everybody. So it's powerful stuff.
Hmm. Right. No, it is. And, like it's weird because when I first I say that this is a repetitive thing, but that's always ignored like the self development stuff when I first was trying to get good with women. I thought more about the
Hmm.
strategy, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
the personal growth stuff is important too. Like,
Hmm.
because that's
Absolutely.
going to show that's going to help you present it in the strategy and develop your own authentic strategy eventually as you learn to master yourself. And I think a lot of guys like just fail. They don't want to master themselves. I mean, do you think that's true? Or do you think, I don't know. What do you think about that?
What guys don't want to like work on themselves?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think the default is people are lazy, and most
Yeah.
guys today don't want to actually do the work to like be a better person or be a better man or really improve their life because it's hard. I mean, most people don't do this, and there's a reason they call it the top 15%, top 20%, because those people are actually doing the work that most are not willing to do. And they make sacrifices. They set up schedules for themselves. They have standards, they have disciplines, and most people just don't do that stuff. So guys that try to sidestep the self-improvement to just like, oh, I got to get girls or I got to make money, good luck because you're chasing a race you're never going to win because you're not coming from a good place. You don't actually have an identity, and you'll basically always be chasing something as opposed to attracting the right things.
Yeah. And that it can be, sorry, that can be like, I know, especially when you're chasing stuff all the time, that can get exhausting too and
Yeah.
frustrating. And that's, why you gotta have that mental awareness of all that stuff and like focus on.
Mhm.
I mean, it's okay to like, go after women and go after money, but there's other important things besides that. Like, I mean, and when you can focus on the when you like I'm talking about personal development. I think that's really, because when you can focus on your own personal development, like you were saying, that's when things are going to start to come into fruition in the real world. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 100%. And like you're saying, with money, with business, women, whatever, like you can want those things. There's nothing wrong with wanting those things or trying to go and make that happen in your life, but you have to ask yourself why. Why are you doing it? Why do you want women? Why are you trying to make more money? Is it because you feel like you lack something, or is it because you're adding to your life? There's a massive difference, but it's subtle. And I think when you actually do the work on yourself and you take self-improvement seriously, you'll come from a place of groundedness and maturity, as opposed to like, oh, I want something that I feel like I don't have. So
Hmm.
something that not a lot of people really talk about, but it's real.
Right, exactly. No, and I think when you can, like I said, when you work on that shit, that's when all the girls start coming in your life. That's when you start, creating the best life for yourself. That's when you start making the money that you want.
Yeah.
I think too, sometimes we let our desires can frustrate us too. Like I guess you can relate this to chasing, but if you have a
Yeah.
strong desire for something and you're not getting it, and you just focus on that all the time, that's going to fuck you over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really important to just go within and learn about yourself, because you can master yourself, you can master anything. So that's
Hmm.
that's something I think every guy should strive for.
Hmm. Right, exactly. No, self mastery is not a overnight success. I
No.
think it's a never ending process.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's
And
it's a it's a lifelong journey for sure.
right. Yeah, and see, I think most people know that. That's why some people don't want to go on that long journey, because they realize it's just too much, and they just rather, like you say, just take the easy way out and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of look at it from a different perspective, because yeah, it's hard to work on yourself. It's hard to like face the things that you're fearful of. It's hard to start a business or to increase your status, your money, whatever. But it's also hard to live a life where you don't have any of these things going on, and you're behind, you're on your rent, or you don't make enough money to feed yourself, or you don't have enough friends to like be social and have a fulfilling life. That's painful too. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like, what hard do you want to accept? Do you want a hard of the easy life, or the hard of the life that's difficult but it's more rewarding? So you kind
Hmm.
of have to choose what path you want to take.
Right, exactly. No, and I already chose. Like I realized, if I want anything in life, I have to like take the action, and
Yeah.
like you have to set the. There's a lot of things you got to focus on yourself. You got to focus on your interactions with people, the stuff going on the outside. Well, there's a lot to it, but I prefer that rather than
Yeah.
being comfortable and possibly ending up somewhere where I don't want to be, like later on down the
Mm-hmm.
road. I think to me that's a lot more exciting. And you know
Yep.
what, just going through this process for the past several years, I have experienced a lot that in my life that's been fulfilling, that I don't think would have happened if I would never have embarked on that journey,
Mm-hmm.
or taking risks or chances, or putting in a lot of work, or giving, if I gave up on what it is, I don't think I would be where I am right now.
Mm-mm. Yeah, man, it opens up so many opportunities, and the people that you meet, the experiences you have, the growth that you get out of it. I mean, at the end of the day, it makes it all worth it. And I think, um, if you do choose to embark on a journey of self improvement and self mastery, I mean, you're always going to get a return. It's one of those things that if you invest in yourself, you're going to get a return on that investment every single time. But if you invest in things that they waste your time, you waste your money, they waste your energy, then you're probably not going to see that again.
Hmm. Right, that's true. And it all just boils down to being mindful of all that.
Yeah, it's very true.
So, but yeah, it's a very, like, guys, it's definitely like, rejection is just part of the process in dating or with anything in life. Like, And it's just it's just kind of, you got to put yourself through the motions and not give up, because like when you don't give up, it shows that you have mental toughness and everything. When you go through the trial, when you go and something doesn't go your way, like we were talking about, the best way is just to kind of learn from the situation rather than let it affect you and destroy you. And you just got to be mindful of the way you're reacting to the situation. Are you going to be reactive towards this when you get rejected, or are you going to look at it as an experience that's going to get you to the next level? So it's definitely important to like keep all that in mind. But rejection is not a bad thing. A lot of people, I think, have a negative I think they look at it in a negative perspective, and when so when they do get rejected, they think there's something wrong with them, or they blame someone else.
Yeah, I agree. I think that most people get rejected. I mean, if you look at anybody that, well, I can't even say most people. I'll say successful people get rejected. And if you look at their lifespan and their history of what they're doing, somewhere along their journey they got rejected, or they had a temporary defeat somewhere. They messed something up. They made a mistake, but that's what got them to where they're at now. Like, you learn more from your mistakes usually than you do your successes. So I think that, like, you have to realize that failure is part of the journey, and rejection is a part of working on yourself and getting to that next level. Because if you're not getting rejection, you're not facing any rejection at all. I would argue that you're probably not taking enough action.
Right. Yeah, and life would be pretty abnormal if you didn't get rejected, because it's just a part
Yeah,
of
sure
the
would.
process. a lot of
100%.
and a lot of fucking people who are successful have been rejected. When starting a business, you look at some of the famous entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
Even it's not so. It's a rejection is just a part of the process, and
Yeah.
I think that happens because like I mentioned not too long ago, it's a test of how much you really want it and your mental toughness, and are you
Yeah.
willing to go through all the bullshit to manifest what you want in your life.
Mhm.
I guess for
Yeah.
those, I think most people who just give up and don't have that mental toughness, they never really wanted it to begin with, because like they
Mhm.
didn't, or they let their comfort zone stop them, they let the outer world stop them and shit like that.
Yep. So you actually made me think of a book that I just finished recently. It's an audio book, and
Oh,
this is
okay, cool.
really, really, really great read. If anybody's listening, or Rob, if you want to pick this up, I highly recommend this book. It's actually called "Outwitting the Devil" by Napoleon Hill.
Oh, okay. Oh, I think I've heard of that
Amazing,
one. Yeah, yeah, that's
amazing,
yeah.
amazing book. And the reason I bring that up is because in the book, I'll give you a quick summary about it, because
Okay,
it's
cool.
it's
Yeah.
it's kind of long, and you have to read it to really understand it. So he's basically like interviewing the devil, like, in his own mind. Like, he kind of, I don't know if it was a dream or something he imagined, but he was basically interviewing like the devil in his head, and he was kind of asking him questions like, how do you become successful? Why is there suffering in the world and all this stuff? Is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, at one point, the devil was explaining failure, and he was just saying, why do people fail? Like, why can't you just go through life and just succeed? What is failure, and how do you avoid this? And in the book, he describes it being, failure being a man-made concept. And I was like, that's actually pretty
I like
interesting.
that. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. And then he explains it a little bit more. He's like, failure, really, when you think about it, we create failure in our own minds. So if you do something and you say that you failed, that just means you stopped trying and you gave up. You just let it sit there. Like, you fail when you stop. You don't, even if you do it wrong, it's not failure necessarily. It's temporary defeat. So if you stop trying and you do something else, or you give up and just you let it go, then technically, yeah, that's failure. But if you do something, and it doesn't matter how long it takes, doesn't matter how many mistakes you make, if you continue to come back to it and you enjoy the process, well, you're not really failing. You're learning from your temporary setbacks.
I
So
like that.
failure is just when you stop.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, that is true. Yeah. I even yeah, I even think I have it. Yep, on my little wall art over there. It says, "It's
Hmm.
not over when you lose. It's over when you quit."
Exactly. Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, and so like even though like I take that, okay, like shit, things when things don't go your way, hey, it's not over unless you just give up completely,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
that's what I've always learned is like you just gotta keep on pushing. Like it can, and it's a pain in the ass, but you gotta like be mindful that you gotta, sometimes it's good just to take a little break and just get rejuvenated again to get back and then get back into things. But don't
Mm-hmm.
let failure or rejection stop you completely.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as you're still moving in that direction and you haven't completely given up, like there's still an opportunity there. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to kind of look at setbacks as opportunities because now you have something that can make you stronger, and you have something that you can learn from, and something that
Mm-hmm.
can be, you can tweak and refine your approach to improve upon what you did before. So it's all a process, man. And it doesn't really, the length of time doesn't really matter. That's kind of what I'm learning as I build this business, as I build the content and just everything I'm doing. Time doesn't really matter. It's just like, are you still doing the work and are you enjoying the process? Because that's what really counts.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's really good. That's really good. Well, do you want to have any closing thoughts before we end the show here? Or you probably
Yeah, I
close.
mean, yeah, we could honestly close it on that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But basically, like with rejection, since that's kind of the topic of discussion here, start viewing it differently. Rejection isn't something that you can avoid. It's not something that is should be taken personally. It's not something that's gonna completely derail you from your goals. It's gonna be there. You have to learn from it. You have to embrace it, and you have to just take it with a grain of salt and realize, hey, if I'm facing rejection, that's actually a good thing because that means I'm taking action, maybe not the right action, but I'm doing something. So what can I learn from this, and how can I apply it next time until I eventually do get success? So
Mhm.
don't look at rejection as a hard fail, because it's not.
Right. No, and that's very good. Yeah, and like I'll just close by saying, yeah, just you got to have a different mindset about rejection rather than looking at something that where you're blaming yourself or the other person. Look at it as a learning experience and something that is going to get you to the next level. But at the
Hmm.
same time, when rejection kicks your ass, have that mental toughness to say "fuck you," and then just like move forward and continue doing what you were doing. Because if you just give up, like you said, that is when you truly fail. But if when you
Yeah.
continue to, push through all the rejection and all the chaos that's being thrown at you, you will eventually have that toughness where you will prevail, and because you're going to be learning from your experiences. You're going to be a more confident motherfucker and kick ass. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, just change your attitude towards rejection. It's a fact of life. Not everyone's gonna fucking like you. You just gotta not take it
Yeah.
seriously, and place value. Look at yourself as a high value person. You, even though you might not have anything, you have gone out there and made shit happen for yourself in your life.
Hmm.
But like you said, you got to go out there and build a life for yourself. And when you're actually going out there and building a life for yourself, you're going to build that value for yourself. When you learn who you are as a person and individual and learn to like yourself more, you're going to build value towards yourself. And, like the more you build the value, but the more you're going to believe in yourself to the point where you're not going to give a damn what other people think about you. And you don't take, but yeah, just can't take it too seriously. You just gotta just go out there and enjoy.
I agree.
So, but yeah, well, thank you very much for coming on the show. Let's we definitely have to reconvene next month for another kick-ass show and everything. We'll maybe try to get a panel going. That'd be nice to have 2 or 3 other people on here. I'll
Yeah.
definitely work on that. But yeah, thanks again for coming on the channel, and let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, if you just search up The Sophisticated Man on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, I'm on all three.
Rock on. Well, hey, thank you very much, Tino. And thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Be sure to go to the website. You can buy a copy of my ebook, The 5 Pillars of Self-Confidence. I offer coaching on the website too. It's at commandyourconfidence.com. That's commandyourconfidence.com. And yeah, I be sure to tune in for the next show. And Tino and I will be back next month. and I'll just continue on doing my shorts and some other cool shit. So until then, rock the fuck on and continue to command your confidence. Peace.